What is your darkest desire? I think someone near me did something like that, but legally. There was an Amazon trailer that caught fire on the highway and about a third of it burnt. They bought it somehow. I assume Amazon just wrote it off based on an estimate and junked it, and parked it in a closed lot. It was still full of packages. The back was burnt, the middle smoke and water damaged, and the front third was untouched. It sat there for like a month, being emptied out slowly. I assume they were reselling everything they didn't want that wasn't too damaged. I would like to start out with, I would never actually do this. But I really want a house, but I'm a poor person, so I concocted a plan to murder the people in a house and then show up when it's for sale. I figure a haunted house will be cheaper. If I picked a house that's too nice, I may need to repeat to bring the price down. The realtor will say, there have been a lot of murders here. And I'll just have a secret smile, knowing I'll be safe. So this isn't necessarily dark, but it's definitely odd. I want to open a school for gold diggers. Basically take in women/men who have no ambitions further than marrying rich and teach them everything that the perfect assistant/wife/husband of a rich man/woman needs to know how to do. Things like household management, handling of appointments, memos, calls, etc. Get them work as assistants/secretaries to practice, and then when they graduate and are like, finally I can go get a husband/wife, I can be like, surprise. You're an extremely qualified executive assistant. Now go support yourself. Just trick people who have no ambition/confidence in their skills into becoming highly qualified professionals. I remember reading years ago about an organized crime syndicate that would comb poor cities for beautiful women, train them to be perfect little mob wives, and sell them to rich businessmen. They would be so grateful for a life of wealth and privilege that they would be loyal even to a cheating husband. Or that was the theory. After spending time with other rich guys' wives, they lost a lot of that gratitude and started looking for divorces. I randomly saw a list of cheapest beach towns around the world last night, and now that I work remotely I can't stop thinking about ditching insanely overpriced American suburbia and ejecting to someplace like Thailand, Spain, Portugal, or Morocco for a few years. Some of these places the rent is under $500 and cost of living is maybe 20% of what it is in the US. I could live in a cool, interesting, and beautiful place for half the cost of a miserable one-bedroom shoebox in the US. Very tempted once my lease is up. That is literally how Rob gained so much weight so quickly in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when they decided that Mac was going to get fat. He realized that he couldn't eat enough calories and it took too long to eat frozen ice cream, so he decided to melt a gallon and drink it every day. He put on weight really quick, and when it was time for him to lose weight he just stopped doing it and instantly shed 20 pounds. Edit, once he shed the initial weight, when he stopped literally drinking a gallon of ice real a day, he had to work his ass off to get the rest back off. It's way harder for most people to shed weight than to put it on. I break into Tiffany's at midnight. Do I go for the vault? No, I go for the chandelier. It's priceless. As I'm taking it down, a woman catches me. She tells me to stop. It's her father's business. She's Tiffany. I say no. We make love all night. In the morning, the cops come and I escape in one of their uniforms. I tell her to meet me in Mexico, but I go to Canada. I don't trust her. Besides, I like the cold. 30 years later, I get a postcard. I have a son and he's the chief of police. This is where the story gets interesting. I tell Tiffany to meet me in Paris by the Trocadero. She's been waiting for me all these years. She's never taken another lover. I don't care. I don't show up. I go to Berlin. That's where I stashed the chandelier. Edit, guys, please no more awards that you have to pay for. Go buy someone a cup of coffee and brighten their rainy day, or give a few dollars to that homeless guy you've seen around. I don't need internet points, and the bling will only attract gold diggers, smiley face. To be hit by a car or otherwise seriously injured enough to end up in hospital for a while. Nothing to cause long-term harm, but something that I could recover from after a few months. I just want a break from life. It's so exhausting pretending to be happy. I guess it'll also reveal the people in my life that actually care about me, and those who are lying. Edit, for posterity. I know that this is an unhealthy mindset and definitely not something to aspire to do. Logically I don't want this to happen, but emotional sad brain says otherwise, hence why it's the darkest desire, lol. I was so unhappy with my life for a few years. I secretly hoped I would be diagnosed with cancer just so I can stop working 2 full-time jobs and studying a bachelor's degree at the same time. I felt so guilty about it. For a while I considered having a baby, just so my circumstances could change. Thank God that was a phase and I didn't act on it. My life would have been 100 times worse. I've since been sterilized, so rational me made sure emotional/hormonal me would not consider shitty decisions again. You are not alone in feeling this way. Hugs. My stepmom was like this, but almost every day mentally and emotionally, not sexual thankfully. She would say shit about my real mom, call her a cheating slut, tell me that she didn't love me, that's why she didn't take me with her. I would then obviously lose my temper and react to it, only for her to tell my dad I started it, and then he would beat me with his slipper or belt. We would go like to the beach for the day and everyone would have lunch except me. She would claim she forgot to pack me one. Dad never really gave a shit. I remember one time his best friend was outraged and took me to buy lunch. I don't know if this will make you feel better or worse, but I did almost exactly this. I moved 9,000 miles away from home. Only told my parents and a close friend. I felt better for a while, but your problems will follow you no matter where you go. Positive mindset is a lot more important than where you live, with some obvious exceptions like living in a disaster area or war-torn country. Usually you don't have to go anywhere to be happier, you just need to work on being happier where you are right now. This is one that used to happen a lot more often. People, often men, would just peace out on their entire lives, move 2 towns over, and start over. Sometimes they'd even keep both lives going at the same time. It all sounds crazy, but ask your parents or grandparents about people they knew with secret families and I guarantee they will have at least one story about someone they knew. The internet, social media, and divorce lawyers have made this much harder to pull off currently. This but hop on a plane. But I have loving husband and 3 beautiful kids and a fat cat. Once in a blue moon crosses the mind though. Like what if? And just disappear. To a foreign country in a rainy alley at night with people and nightlife buzzing around you. You get drunk on the night sky, reminiscing about the past. Then after some time you wake up one day and miss your family. Realize you fucked up. Check on Facebook to see how they doing. What's this? Your husband got remarried and your kids have a new mom. Everyone seems happy. You try to feel happy for them. Everything is for the better. Your sense of purpose disappears. As does your mind into that dark rainy alley. Is this all there is? You ask yourself. It's too late to go back, to turn around. Only way forward, down into the tracks onto the next oncoming train. If I could do anything I think I would, shrink myself to the size of a mouse. I'd leave the world of men behind me forever, and live amongst the mice. And I would bring technology in and art to those uncultured swine. And I would build tiny tools for their mouse hands made from toothpicks and marshmallows. And I would be their king, nay, their prince. Gilderoy the Mouse Prince. Ruling from my grand castle inches high, carved from the finest cheeses. And there I would dwell with my 3 mouse wives, and my 12 mouse concubines. Oh, but the wars we'd have with the frogs, terrible, just terrible. Those metal mice warriors, the atrocities they've seen. Yes, that is my dream. My secret dream. As a prior heroin addict, clean 5 years, I can confirm that it is simpler. Your brain is literally like zombified and it's all you think about. No real concerns for other people's well-being and oftentimes, even your own. It's just business as usual and then you feel really good. Crackheads are paranoid though, go for a drug that actually makes you feel good, LMAO. No, don't, it ruins your life. But in recovery there's a saying among people who've been clean for years, life doesn't get easier, it gets easier to deal with. There's a reason people do drugs, you go on autopilot and years go by without you even noticing. No conscience, no problem. Please don't do drugs, LMAO. Honestly, I want to be a house husband to someone who makes a lot of money. Bonus points if they're kinda controlling. I really don't care as long as I can cook all their meals myself. I'd ask what they want for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and if they like the way I organize, and if not, how would they want it? We'd move to wherever they need to for work or even just because they want to live there. The only thing is they need to allow me to be very physically affectionate, like random cuddling when watching TV or just holding on to them in public. Also, while we wouldn't have daily sex, it'd have to be like, often, I guess. Maybe at least twice a week. I don't know how often married people usually have sex. I know it's a bit unhealthy and toxic, but that's why I don't tell people, LOL. Probs should have used an alt too. I want a Bonnie and Clyde style crime spree with my just modern day version. Obs, I will be a head to toe leather clad gun toting goddess. Have insane drug fueled porno style nasty sex with him as helicopters circle over the building trying to land to capture us because we just can't help ourselves. But we escape, with the money or the code or whatever we stole, change identities and do it all over again, never getting caught. Just having wild adventures and living life. IRL. Majority of that just ain't gonna happen, but damn, it's nice to dream. I can sympathize, if not empathize. I think the thing that makes it so that I'm not feeling caged like that is the level of communication. That's the wrong word, but more like, the level of understanding the other person in the marriage that we both share. Let me put it this way, unless my goal is to leave my wife, hurt somebody, including myself, or do something illegal, my wife will pretty much support me in it. Feels less like a cage, and more like a safety net. I can fail or succeed, try things or not, and either way, she's there with me, stable and secure. And it goes both ways, too, which is important. But it's never a burden to support her desires, because she's supporting mine. I don't know. Good luck, mate. Uni prof here, and the desire is banging a student under sketchy circumstances. The closest I've come is this. Student cheated on a paper, I discovered the student had done this, and I brought him into my office. At first, he tries lying, and then I give the proof. He confesses, and I explain that I'll have to report this to the central administration, which will result in failing the course and academic probation. He starts pleading, saying that he could lose a scholarship, that his father will be so displeased, and then he says, I will do literally anything, if you don't tell. Of course, the sketch thought runs through my head. I look him over, cute 20-year-old blonde dude. I said, I have a deal. I will say nothing, if you drop the course today and I never see you again. He took the deal, and it's a win-win because I didn't have to fill out paperwork, but my fantasy remains unfulfilled. Well, I figure everyone has a price, a certain dollar amount to where they'd do pretty much anything within reason. My darkest desire is to have so much money that I can whimsically offer a friend $350,000 or so, whatever friend's specific dollar amount is, to have sex with and/or see their significant other naked. Ideally I'd like to have enough money to do this to whomever I want, friends/people I know mostly. The people on my list are pretty average, so it's not like I'm trying to bribe Taylor Swift. Now I realize this desire is pretty pervy, so don't judge. Grinning face with sweat. To get back with my abusive ex sounds pretty cliche, and it was a textbook toxic relationship where both of us were fucking awful to one another, but like most relationships there was small moments where we were so madly in love with each other. Then she would laugh at me for being sexually abused when I was younger and do similar things to what happened to me, only to be all loving, kind, and caring when I'm knee-deep in a PTSD episode. Haha, honestly my darkest desires terrify me because I have pretty dark fantasies, but I'm also highly empathetic, to the point that every time I've tried to act on them, consensually, obviously lol, I end up just thinking fuck, she'll think I'm nuts, or insane, or rapey, and so it just becomes vanilla sex with some ropes. Kinda sucks, but I guess I'm glad my moral center is apparently stronger than my fetishes. You can get darker with the right person. My wife and I use chains, whips, collars, cages, etc. It can get very intense and extends far outside the bedroom into our everyday lives. We both have professional careers and nobody is any the wiser. It is doable with the right person. Communicating your desires are key. You might be surprised that often they match up with the other person's. If you never say anything though, you'll never know. To see the neighborhood kids get violently mauled by the dog they keep abusing and torturing. At every chance they get cut hoses, ropes, rocks, and hit the dog and her puppy, kick them, and even take the puppy away to scare the dog. I seriously wish that the dog would stop being so friendly and actually maul those little shits, and I know no one would stop them, because everyone's tired of yelling at them all day. There was an Australian movie I saw as a kid, can't remember the name, but the basic premise is that the guy is a scientist and he and his team build a device. Something quantum physics, the effect, etc. And when the device triggers, everyone on Earth disappears but him. Turns out it's not just him but close enough. He spends a significant part of the movie alone, going slowly nutty and just going apeshit. I don't have a whole lot of friends and we get to see my family, I live in another country from them. This notion has always appealed to me. Kinda because right now I feel alone but there are people everywhere. After the effect, I'd be truly by myself. A perverse justification for being lonely. Honestly. I literally dream of going mute or something and being able to quit working permanently. My mental health is bad but not qualify for disability without years of legal battles bad. My sister had a 4-year battle to get hers approved and she's got a personality disorder, so my chances are slim. But outside of winning the lottery, that's probably the only way I would ever be able to stop working and still have money coming in. I know it wouldn't be much but it would be something. Other than that, I'd really like to see my asshole abusive father dead. I want to walk into my uncle's funeral, check to see either ashes or a corpse, say just wanted to make sure and then walk out without acknowledging anyone. He's a piece of shit who's taking out his frustration at the world on future generations because he has no legacy. His son died at the age of 30 from a congenital heart defect that he knew he would pass on. His adopted Russian daughter had to be chemically castrated because her undiagnosed fetal alcohol syndrome got in the way of a productive life, and he thinks it's all Obama's fault. I have two mainly. To fake my own death and leave everything behind and be a vigilante with no secret identity because I'm dead, or to do a similar thing where I'd fake my own death and survive in the wilderness built on nothing but starting with my bare hands in Siberia or something. The second is to make my girlfriend/future wife fat. I've got an extreme sickness for the thickness and I love a woman with some extra meat on her bones, despite said meat actually being fat. I want her to want me too, and I want her to love getting fatter. Of course, there's a limit to what I find attractive, and that would stop around 225 pounds depending on how good it looks on her. None of this is to say that I won't ever find skinny girls attractive, I just have a predisposition to chubbier ones.